welcome back to fucking part 2 of, I think, our most requested Sclusie, which is crazy because it's so punishing for all of us and just deeply horrible for everyone involved. But we're back with the compman, Mark Teo.
Hey, dudes.
Thanks for joining us again as the official compilation expert of the podcast, Mark.
But there's something about compilations I've been meaning to say on all of our regular episodes and keep forgetting, so I got to say it on here while in the presence of the compman, which is that we are officially doing the free punk lyrics compilation. If you're listening to this, it's still open. The last day that you can submit to the free punk lyrics compilation is the last day of February, so February 31st or 32nd or whatever. And if you've already submitted, I'm very stupid and very disorganized, and you need to basically submit again. So, because I don't want to have to look through, like, people always say this to me. They're like, I'll be like, can you send me that link again? They're like, why don't you just scroll up in the chat? But that's not an option for me because there's too many chats open everywhere. And people have been sending me shit like on Instagram messages and stuff. So if you want to be on the compilation, email blink155pod@gmail.com or bump the thread if you've already emailed. But you need to like opt in for being on the comp. Send it again or send some new shit. Last day of February is the deadline. Whew.
Oh my God. So holy shit. So how many songs do you have that you like know of?
I think there's like at least 12 at this point.
That's insane.
Holy shit. That is like a tenth of the songs on Short Beats for Short Beats.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, as soon as you ask someone to like write an email, they won't do it. But if they do, hopefully we can get it up to like 100.
I mean, I think it would be good to make that like the official short music for short people too. I think we can go kind of like to Fat Mike. You know, he seems like a very reasonable, shrewd businessman, and say, look, we've got an idea. Let's take this, incredibly, niche compilation that we have resurfaced. Like, we're like the Alan Lomax of pop punk compilations. And so, like, we want to sell this to Moby. I'm getting things mixed up here. But, like, I think Fat Records will put out fucking anything at this point.
Well, I just think that we don't need, like, we do favors for labels, not vice versa. So they're all going to be groveling at us, and we're going to be like, no, motherfucker. The pod is its own label now. We are the new Sub Pop.
Hell yeah. Pod, Sub Pod.
I have noticed that the Blink 155 bump is a little bit real for some things. And Mark, I'm curious, did you sell out of books because of the last Sclusie or what?
As far as I can tell, I have not sold any books since the last time we spoke. So.
Oh shit.
That doesn't sound right. That doesn't feed me and Josiah's narrative as like real life cultural movers and shakers. So you should check with your publisher.
You should at least get them to do the thing that like small Canadian labels do, where they just like send it all to distros and then say that it's sold out, and then it sits there forever and is eventually listed for 25 cents.
Honestly, that is like much better than facing the reality that I've sold like 6 books, all of them to my dad.
So. Oh, that's good though, man. 6 books in Canada, that's not bad.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's
what
sick.
You got to do is I've recently discovered that thanks to updates, I guess, in printing technology, it's much easier for them to print new runs of books. So whereas it used to be like a big deal to be like, oh, I'm going into my second pressing, like with a record, right? Now, like having a second printing of your book, it could be 10 books. It could be 6 more books for your dad. And so I think maybe what you should do is just like head out to like a Kinko's or whatever and like photocopy the book and be like, we're already into our second printing, just like it's all about the narratives that you spin for yourself.
Or we'll just give you a new forward from Blink 155, I think is a good idea.
Oh yeah. With an updated forward. That's good.
Oh shit. Yeah. Well, definitely for the second run that's never going to come. You guys should definitely.
Yeah. Well, you've got to work your way through the Big Shiny Tunes compilations. Should we contextualize? Like, I mean, probably most people who are listening to this.
This is pretty deep lore. Like, I doubt that any newcomers are in here.
So we just say, like, stop listening to this now if you haven't listened to the first one, because we're 1/3 of the way through a 101 song comp and nothing is going to make sense to you.
True. Yeah. Okay. That's for the free zone. But now behind the paywall, there's another thing we have to address, which is that I feel like our number of Australian listeners has like doubled or quadrupled since the last time.
We're mostly an Australian podcast.
And people are catching up and getting very upset that we said The Living End was racist in the last one.
I think we should put this in front of the paywall. I think it's important to address Australian racism in public.
I mean, I'm trying not to be mean to our new followers, but this girl was like, they said it was something like, The Living End is just a sick rockabilly band, and they're racist. I mean, and they're Australian. How could they be racist? And I'm like, yeah, rockabilly and Australian, like this word cloud is just like, these words are all interchangeable to me.
Yeah, like Australians and racist, a Venn diagram is like a circle. Like that is...
But maybe if you're Australian and rockabilly, then it cancels each other out, and then you're not racist anymore.
That might be part of Australian subculture that we don't understand.
Either way, I'm sorry that we... And I think it was definitely only Mark and I, but I'm sorry that we assumed that The Living End were racist.
No, man, I'm sorry that The Living End are racist.